Today's video, we're going to talk about Instagram story ads and how they convert better than Instagram feed ads do, as well as Instagram reel ads do. So with this is actually quite surprising to me, which is why I wanted to make a video dedicated to this. Out of all the different ad placements you can run through your Facebook ad platform, this right here is basically the most profitable one of them all. Once you're starting to exclude the Facebook news feed in general, but in some occasions, it's beating Facebook news feed as well. So with that said, this is something that you absolutely should do if you aren't doing yet. But if you aren't able to get success running ads through your Facebook ad account, consider just simply running the Instagram story ads, because you could actually get the best return there, and maybe the return that you were able to get before that wasn't good enough, you can bump that up, and now you have a viable campaign for yourself, specifically running the story ads by themselves as a placement, which you can absolutely do your Facebook ad account. So with that said, I will give you a case study here of specifically something that we've ran before, the Instagram story ads, how they produced cost per acquisition wise versus real ads, and as well as the regular Instagram feed ads, so you can see how much of a difference this will be on your ROI if you're looking to retry Instagram ads or Instagram placements when they weren't profitable for you enough before to warrant or justify doing it. So and then of course, if you stay to the end of the video, I'll give you some tips and tricks there on how to run the ads, which is in order to replicate these kind of results for yourself. So with that said, or before I get into the content though, if you do not know who I am yet, I am Corey. I'm an owner of Guaranteed PPC, a online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for clients. That is, we do not charge management fees up front until we can get them a certain minimum lift in the profitability of their ads up front in excess of the fees. We are the only agency on the planet who offers any kind of guarantee like that, which should tell you something about the quality of the information shared with you on today's video. So with that said, okay, if you do not know what an Instagram story is, first up here, a Instagram newsfeed is just like it sounds. It's in the user's feed itself. Then, of course, you have reel ads, which are under the reel tab on a person's Instagram feed. They're basically just video ads, if you will. Then you also have the story ads. The story ads are at the very top of Instagram, and there's little circles up at the top. And those circles, when you click on it, will open up a big, a takeover of your screen. There'll be an ad like this. Now, the main thing that gets Instagram story ads to convert so well or better than the other two placements on Instagram there that I mentioned is the fact that it doesn't really stand out and look like an ad right away when you get it. Versus the other two, that it's more obvious that you're looking at an ad. Literally on feed ads, you'll have something right up here that has a button that says to click to go to the website. Well, if you watched any of my other videos on this channel before, I talk about how all the time, how if you're going to make good money on Facebook alone or Instagram, you need to have your ads not look like ads. Why? Because people ignore ads. They're literally trained mentally that when they're scrolling through these two platforms, they're saying, is this an ad or isn't this an ad? Oh, it's an ad, skip. Is this an ad? Skip. Oh, it's not an ad, I'll pay attention to it. And so if you're really going to make money out of the ad space, because every time your ad shows, it costs you money, you need to be able to get a high engagement rate from the ads that show up for your users. So with that said, the best way to do that is to not look like an ad at all. So you actually get through that initial first filter that filters out 90% of the users paying attention or not paying attention to what you're showing them. And of course, and there's different levels to that. You can have an ad that looks like it was a post by somebody who was randomly reviewing your product or service. You could have an ad that looks like a news organization reviewed your product or service, which is the best, by the way, and get much, much better results that way than saying, hey, would you like to hire our accounting services firm? Here's why you want to hire us, because people just skip past that right away. It's not why they're on the platform. They're not on there to see ads, period. And everybody hates ads for the most part. So if you're going to be a good advertiser, you got to trick people into viewing your ad and paying attention to it. And they'll eventually ultimately going to know it's an ad, but not till they've gotten the main message. And that's your goal. Or should I say that is your goal. So with that said, the Instagram story ads, when you click the circle and the ad pops up, it will say sponsored here in the upper left-hand corner, but it's barely readable. And if you have a light colored ad, you basically won't be able to see it at all because it's in white text. And then the other thing with this is the circles that are on the top of the newsfeed app or the Instagram app where the stories are, there's nothing on there that says sponsored listing. So you got an ad which has no designation that says it's an ad. You only can tell it's an ad once you click on it and open it again. And even then, it only says sponsored in the upper left-hand corner of the screen in real small text, in white text, which you could barely read against the background. Versus like on let's say or just Instagram newsfeed, it says sponsored in the upper left, and it's easy to read against the background and very noticeable. Whereas people don't really know to look up here to see if it's an ad or not. I mean, some people obviously do, but I can tell you, if you have an ad that doesn't look like an ad, they're certainly not going to be looking at this at all. And that should be your goal, to come up with an ad copy that doesn't look like an ad, and then you can get the kind of results I'm talking about here. So with that said, I had a case study here. We didn't deliberately just run sponsored story ads for and through Instagram to find out these results. We just ran ads for a mole removal product, and then we broke down, because you can actually see this in your Facebook ads account. You can actually break down your campaign performance by placement, and you can actually see each placement broken down. The Instagram story ads versus the feed ads versus the reel ads, and all the way down the list to see what the return is for each of them individually. Of which is like what we did here, to show you the difference in return story ads can actually bring you versus the feed ads and the reel ads. So with that said, we had with this mole removal product company, millions in ad spend that we spent as a base to analyze the story ads, how much better or worse they would actually be versus the newsfeed ads and the reel ads, which is important because you need a certain amount of data to look at to have statistically significant results. And know that you didn't just simply get a better result because you're only talking about a small sample size of data. The more data you have, the more certain you can be about the data you're looking at being accurate over the long run or moving forward. So with that said, this mole removal product, which you apply to a mole and your mole would just basically die and fall off, our feed ads had an average of $66 in acquisition or cost per purchase. Our reel ads had an average cost of acquisition of $52. And their story ads, here's where the big result is. Drum roll, please. What do you think the cost per acquisition is there? $28. So we're talking about less than half of the cost of the feed ads on Instagram. And by the way, if you're wondering if Facebook's sponsored story ads work just as well, the answer is, for the most part, yes, they do. The gap between the story ads on Facebook versus the newsfeed ads is nowhere near the same. On Instagram, it's huge. And for that matter, because not very many people like to advertise on Instagram, meaning the cost per impression is going to be less because there's less demand there, and the fact that the story ads are so good, you very well could have your Instagram sponsored stories ads to be your best producing ad placement out of all the ads that you're running on Facebook and Instagram, as what we found several times now looking at the placements report inside our Facebook ads account. Especially if you can make your ad like I was talking about here, where you make an ad that doesn't look like an ad because they're going to watch it all the way through in that case. And that's what they're expecting because their friends here or the people they follow have a story. They're not looking to see some stupid ass ad. They want to see something that's going to give them value. So if you have a UGC style ad, you can get these kind of results for yourself. That is super low acquisition costs. And I'll get into how to run the ads here in a second. But before I do, if we've worked in your niche market before, you can actually reach out to our firm and we can tell you what results we got in your niche market running Instagram story ads. And then you could just use the same ad copy that we ran for it. That is, we were operating in a geographic market that you're not in. And then with that, you just could copy paste those into your ad account and get the same results we did with none of the hard work and money we had to spend to find that perfect ad that works in your market. With that said, we worked in over 100 different niche markets in the last 10 plus years of running this advertising firm at Guaranteed PPC. So the chances are quite high. We've already got the type of ad that you would want to run, and we got everything figured out for you. At the very least, you should reach out and see if we've worked in your market and what results we've got. And, along with that, you can, of course, get our Facebook ads, our Google ads, and everything else, including landing page templates to go along with it. And then with that said, of course, there's a lot of other stuff to know here. If you're going to use this information, you're going to run off to do story ads about landing page design, conversion tracking, all of which I talk about on this channel. And it comes from somebody who spends 40 hours a week legitimately doing ad strategy at our firm for clients on dozens of ad accounts. So you're getting information straight from the source on this particular channel, which is the only thing that's really useful. All these other yahoos on this platform that talk about ads don't really run ads, or they run a couple ads. They don't really know what they're doing. They're trying to sell you a course. They're trying to make money on ad spend. And that doesn't get you the results you're looking for. It's very rare that somebody's actually doing ad strategy on a full-time basis and spending their weekends talking about what worked on this platform. In fact, I only know one other person. So, and then, along with that, if you like the channel, by the way, and you like the strategies that I give you here, if you haven't checked out my blog yet, you should. My blog, you can find that at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has my strategies that I'm using on a regular basis here at our firm to guarantee clients results, with screenshots, with the step-by-step instructions to use them, everything you would basically want. So if you like the channel, you should check that blog out as well. But with that said, in terms of the Instagram sponsored story ads, I touched on this a minute ago, but basically what I would recommend to you for sure, if you can do it, is to run a news style ad. You want to have your sponsored story look like something that came off the news. And the news is covering your product or service, which you may say, well, how the hell did you do that, Corey? This is actually easy to do. We're in the period of time right now where legacy media networks are still around. They're limping along, but they need money to keep going. They're way more willing to have you come to them and say, hey, I want on your news station. I want you to review my product on a new products part of your typical daily program here. I'm willing to spend 10 grand for you to do it. Will you do it or not? And your ad rep there will entertain it more than not. It's just a matter of about, how much do you need to spend, which the average person who is short-sighted, is negative thinking, is going to say, I can't spend $10,000 for an ad. What the hell do you think I am? Money doesn't grow on trees. And the reality is people spend almost all their money on ad spend, but very little on creative. Whereas social media ads nowadays, the money is in the creative. You spend the money on the creative and the ad spend is free because the ad is just going to get a return at that point in time if you got the creative right. Whereas if you don't invest in the right creative, you're never going to get anywhere. So can you make creative that's going to work or not? Yes or no? And the best creative that I still know to this date, or up to now, is the news-based creative. The best thing to do if you sell like a toolbox, like we had a client do, you get on a TV show on the television where the people watching are watching because they like fixing on cars. And so it has your exact target market there. And the reason for that is because the people that you're trying to sell to that work on cars know that TV show or know of it. And so when they see your story ad, which is a small segment of something that happened on that show, it's going to get their attention right away. Like, this is important. That's the whole reason why you do it. And then, of course, while they're watching, they don't know they're seeing an ad. And at least if your product's cool and good, you'll get a positive return on investment. They're not going to buy some polished turd here. But if it's a good toolbox, like we had with our client, it worked or will work extremely well. And of course, that same ad copy, you can use it on YouTube. You can use it all these other places as well. You don't have to just use it for your story ad, sponsor story ad, but that's the type of ad that I would recommend above all others. And 10 grand is about what it costs to get on nationwide television. If you wanted to get cheap or just want to test it on a small scale basis, put it on a local TV station or get on local radio. You can get a local TV station for 10% of that for a 2-minute segment of them reviewing your product or service. So ultimately, you would want a TV show that's relevant to your niche, but even if not, just getting on national TV like Fox News, whatever, it's almost just as good and it's still probably going to work like gangbusters for you. The other type of ad that you would want, assuming that you're not selling something that's totally exciting all on its own, which if you sell a free energy device, then you can just put that device on your ad and it's already going to sell. It's exciting enough. People aren't going to question, if it's an ad or not. But if you sell something that's boring and something they see every day or know of already, then you got to figure out how to way to make what you have exciting, or your ad space isn't going to pay for itself. So the second best ad that we've found is running what we call UGC ads. So you basically pay an actor to review your product that's pretending as if they're a customer. Hey, I bought this toolbox and, or in our case, the mole removal product, mole removal cream. Hey, I bought this mole removal cream because I had this big mole on my face and I used it. And the mole fell off in 7 days, just like they said it would. And it actually wasn't painful at all and blah, 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 blah. Something that you normally would find or think you would stumble upon on the platform in general anyway. A story like any other, if you will. That is the second best ad you can run. And you may go with that because it's cheaper, but it's certainly only going to work a third of well or 25% of well as the news ad is going to be. And so if you really want to really do well, you're still doing the news style ad. And variations of this would be to have a doctor talk about your product. Saying, hey, at our clinic, I found this new thing, whatever. And that would be a way to get more results out of a UGC style ad. But you get the general picture of what I'm trying to say here. You're not going to get this massive decrease in cost per conversion out of story ads unless you do one of the things that I mentioned or a variation of that. That is not just saying, here's my product, buy it. Because it's not going to have, you're not utilizing the opportunity of the ad format of what it offers if you don't do that. I know because I've tested it both ways. Inadvertently, because clients had ads running where they did it the wrong way, like I told you not to do, where you're just selling the product as is, and it's not an exciting product, and seeing the spread between the story ad placement and the feed ad placement, which the story ads did slightly better on as a whole, but you're not going to get cost per acquisitions of 35% of what you had with the feed ads unless you go ahead and take this other advice about setting up your ad copy. If you're not sure what to do, by the way, you can always leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours. Or you can reach out to me and book a consulting call. I do 30-minute coaching calls with clients now, and every single person who's gotten one from me in the recent past since I started doing this has wanted to come back for another call. Literally speaking, that's because the information I'm giving is so good. It's 20 years of advertising experience. I ask the client a few questions about what they're doing, and I can let you know 90% of the time where the bottleneck is that's stopping you from getting more revenue and profit in your business, whether that be the website, the pricing strategy, or whatever. So with that said, that is pretty much everything that I was going to want to cover here today. Like I mentioned, if you are serious about making money with your ads, with ads and learning how to do it, you should subscribe to this channel. You're not going to find better information out there on YouTube or elsewhere on the web that will teach you in a more practical way how to actually make millions of dollars or become a millionaire running ads for your business. If you do know of any place that's better, let me know because I want to study it. But with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Remember when I said Instagram story ads was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it